decision that would be made if you are a P1 is to qualify or to go out ninth so that you know what everybody else is going to do. But there is another angle to the whole story.
I think the angle is that if you go ninth, will you have time for another run?
Right.
And so do you want to go get a read and have a chance to have a replay? Or do you want to just lay it down in one run? So there is reason to think it through.
But if you are ninth, you go through about 12 qualifying attempts in an hour.
Right.
So you would think there's enough time there being an hour-and-a-half window.
Barring incidents.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And the unforeseen, and just think about how today started. Look at what's happened to KV. Look what happened to Tracy, second guy out. He didn't get a gear. Will Power's elbow bumped off, and he hit the sway bar. So
again, at stake, pit position on race day. You will get additional Firestone tires if you are in the top 9. The winner of the pole position later this afternoon gets $175,000 plus points are being awarded this year for qualifying for the 500 all the way down to 33, and the pole sitter gets 15. Tim Cindric has lots of decisions to make. Does Elio have a decision to make on whether he wants to try it again here in the next few minutes? We'll be right back. Indianapolis, in fact, the best day we've had in quite a while. Temperatures above 80 degrees. The sun is actually shining, which we haven't seen for quite a while. And the track activity has been very, very busy right now. It is open for practice. Dario Franchitti among those getting in some times and speeds here at the Speedway. He is already qualified. He is currently P3, but would certainly like to be P1 here before long. Here's Lindy Thaxton with Tim Cindric.
Okay, Tim, so Elio's running laps faster than Tagliani was doing. Decisions here. What are you thinking?
Well, it's always tempting when you run those kind of laps, but there's a lot of risk here today because if things don't go right, you know, in that run, it wasn't easy for him. And he's a master around here in the wind, but if something goes wrong, he can be 25th. So, you know, you're balancing that. Obviously, the first pit's real important for us. So we'll go down here and talk about it, get fuel, and see what we do here.
What's he saying?
You know, Elio, at Indy, he's always like, let's go for it. But, you know, you never know what the right thing is until you do it.
We'll wait and see. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Well, Lindy, we're joined now down here with Brian Barnhart, who has been in charge of all of this. And, Brian, you're at first blush, this looks like exactly it's unfolding the way everybody within the IZOD IndyCar Series had hoped it would.
Well, it really is, Jack, and we're really excited about seeing how it's going to play out towards the end of the day here at the 4 o'clock gun, because the strategies coming back to make the top 24, as well as those that are going to be going for the shootout, are going to be interesting because of the track conditions changing. A little warmer, wind's picking up. Still a lot of speed out there. Elio just ran 227, so it's plenty fast.
And yet we listened to Dario Franchitti go hurtling down into turn 1 behind us, and we heard him lift, and we looked up at the windsock, and there's a little wind kicking up. So let's start first with making it into the top 24, around that 330 to 345 mark. Do you think there's a feeding frenzy to try and bust your way into that 24?
I don't think it'll wait that long. I think, 315, because there's so many cars going for the, you're looking at 35, 36 cars going for the top 24. I don't think they'll wait that long to do it. So I anticipate it'll start sooner than that. But that's still kind of the heat of the day. So maybe not. We'll see how it goes. And then the ones that have to make the decision are the ones sitting outside the top 9, anywhere from 10th to 15th. Weldon's been fast. He's down in 15th. They've got to make a decision because to run again, they got to withdraw their time.
Right, which is unlike what will happen when we get to the actual run for the pole with the top 9. You can make your first run, and then, as I understand it, you can go out and try and better it, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. When we get to the shootout portion of it at 4:30, you can go out, your time is posted, and your time stands even if you go back out, and you've got one required attempt and as many attempts as you'd like in between then. So as we sit and talk, looks like I'm going to get a customer here that is going to do exactly what we're talking about. Looks like Elio's heading this way.
Well, and let's really set up now. He has to withdraw his time, correct?
Absolutely. That's what Roger and Tim are down here for. They'll have to do a withdraw form, and one of the things that's obviously in play is your pit selection in Indianapolis is based off your qualifying speed. So that's determined in this number 1 segment here from 11 to 4. So that's coming into their thought process right now a little bit.
Yeah, and I know Roger and Tim are right over there, and they're getting a little impatient, so you better get over there and get that paperwork.
All right, thanks.
Thanks. Guys?
Wow.
How about that?
And Tim Cindric, I mean, he plays his cards close to the vest. He's talking to Lindy, wanting to walk down to present, saying, well, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do, but...
he was setting us up to speculate on what do you think they're going to do? Are they going to withdraw? Well, no, we're going to go down here, and we want to be at the top of the charts. We want to be the quickest car in that top 24.
You know what he said? He said, the wind is tricky, and I think that's why Elio's going now. They don't want a wind change.
A wind change, yeah.
We know it's going to get cooler, but they don't want the wind to come up and really mess you up.
And I turned around earlier when they said that to look at the windsock. And the windsock, the winds come up. But of all the days of practice, I haven't seen it blowing in the direction it is. It's either usually been a tailwind going down the back chute or a tailwind coming down the front straightaway. But now that wind's kind of hitting you right in the middle of turn 2. So when you come off of turn 2, it's just going to hit you in the side, or it's going to lift the rear of the car as you come off of 1. That's the direction, which is the normal direction here at the Speedway. That's the prevailing wind, which we're seeing now, and we haven't seen it all week.
Yep. Well, Elio apparently is going to withdraw the time and try to become a consecutive pole winner. And you saw on the graphic a little bit ago, the last driver to sit on the pole for 2 consecutive years was Scott Brayton, but that was 14 years ago.
Well, he's got to do it again later today.
Yeah, right. This really doesn't do anything, but may put him more solidly.
You know what it makes me think of? I watched the recap of last year's race, and Elio had all those gear problems leaving the pits, which I didn't know he had until I watched the recap of the 09 race. But he was in that first pit stall, and that first pit stall was a big, big deal in terms of him just sneaking across that line with the gearbox problem he was having. So it's worth a lot.
So what's going through Elio's mind right now?
Don't mess this up.
No, I think of the confidence and relationship he has with Tim Cindric and Team Penske. A lot like Rick Mears. Rick Mears says, all I do is my job. I let them worry about everything else. I just worry about driving. And I think Elio's the same thing.
Yeah, he does the same thing.
Look at it. Let's see what the conversation is here.
That he has to sign a withdrawal form, and apparently that's what he's doing.
So there goes that 226.3 that Elio posted.
Yeah, but you know what, fellas? This isn't as gutsy a call as it has been in previous years, because, I mean, let's face it, based upon what we've seen, unless there is a mechanical failure, Elio Castroneves, the likelihood, it's highly likely, he'll still remain between P1 and P9, right?
Absolutely. Your great point.
He's already received his instructions on what he must do when he goes onto the track, so it was a simple handshake from Brian Barnhart. And Elio waits for the car to be fired and for him to take another shot at it.
But Jack brings up a point. Bar mechanical difficulty or some sort of incident on the racetrack, yes, that would be not overly gutsy. But Tim Cindric pointed out that if anything goes wrong, you have the chance of starting 25th. You're giving up a second for 25th. So there's a fair bit of stomach rumbling there, hey, Robbie?
Yeah, no, it is. You know, and we look down as we talk about that. Hunter Ray, who is in that 24th spot right now, doesn't have anything to worry about. He's going to withdraw. That being Elio has withdrawn and will just hopefully be back somewhere in that time.
Yeah, Hunter Ray moves back into the field temporarily because of Elio's withdrawal. And away he goes on his second attempt.
You know, and barring the unforeseen, Hunter Ray will bump back out when Elio posts the conclusion of his run time.
He has an incredible record of both starts and finishes here in Indianapolis. His first 2 years, he started 11th and 13th respectively, but then beginning in 2003, his starts have been 1st, 8th, 5th, 2nd, 1st, 4th, and 1st. And has only finished outside the top 10 in an Indy 500 only once. That was in 2006, where he was involved in an accident and finished 25th.
Robbie, both you and I picked him to at the end of the day, end up on the pole position. Of course, this is P1 a little bit different, but there's no question in my mind that